Nobody wants to work with someone who thinks they're Naomi Campbell and isn't. That's no shade, that's no tea, but you have to check your attitude at the door. Hey you guys, so it's Tori, also known as LoveMsLiz, and I'm back with another video. If you stumbled across this video or searched for this video and found this video, I'm sure you're trying to figure out how to model in Atlanta or maybe another state, who knows. This is going to be specific for Atlanta. I'm born and raised in Atlanta. I've been modeling in Atlanta and that's what I'm familiar with. So, like I said, it could be similar for other states. If not, don't drag me. But I'm talking based off of my personal experience and how I got into modeling and in a place to where I could do it more consistently if that's what I chose to do. But yeah, before I get started, I do want to let you know I will be looking down occasionally. Don't judge me. I wanted to, draft up some notes or whatever because I wanted it to be really informative. Like if you slid into my DMs and was like, girl, how'd you get into modeling? What did you do? I want this to be able to be a one-stop shop for all sorts of questions like that, because I'm sure people are wondering, because I wondered once upon a time. So I mean, we here, so we might as well learn something, right? So first and foremost, the way I really got into modeling was casting calls for runway shows. So the good thing about Atlanta is very inclusive. I do feel like this is somewhat across the board. Companies are being way more inclusive about who they're including in their fashion shows, the look that they're looking for, and that unattainable, unrealistic standard of beauty that's been set has been penetrated, disregarded. Atlanta specifically is very inclusive. I know that for a fact. Height, size, ethnicity, all things of that nature, they do not discriminate. So, I mean, let me not say that very lightly, because there is still discrimination. There is definitely still issues within the beauty industry, even on the lower level of freelance and things like that. But ultimately, it is more inclusive. Is there still more work to do? Yes. But is it more inclusive? Definitely. So, like I was saying, runway shows. Get into a runway show. Go on model calls for runway shows, and once you get there, be confident. Walk like you are Naomi Campbell or Tyra Banks, even if you don't have that walk down yet. Confidence will exude you, and that's probably one of the most important things. They want to make sure that you're confident and teachable. It's not impossible to teach a lack of confidence, but it is harder when you have a show coming up and you don't want to necessarily build somebody from the bottom to the top. Even if you're not confident, fake it till you make it. I'm not always confident. I'll still go on a model call and not necessarily be the most confident because there's a pressure behind it, but you just have to push through. Remember what you're doing it for, and you'll be okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's gonna be great. Go on the model calls. So you want to go on the model calls, you want to be confident, you want to have a walk down, you should practice your walk in your house. And once you get into this model call, this is gonna be like do or die. Not necessarily do or die, but in this moment, do or die, because the way that you carry yourself, the interactions that you have will have all the say in whether or not they'll use you again, like the company, whether or not designers want to work with you. It's very, 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 very important. But before I get too deep into that, let me just say the way that I find my model calls are, the first model call that I went on in Atlanta that wasn't like church or school related, I had learned about through word of mouth. But you can go on Instagram, or you can check local events coming up, and those are really good ways to find the events in your area and the runway shows in your area. And typically once you find the flyer, you'll be able to find where the model call was, or when the model call is, or how to inquire about being a part of the show versus coming to watch the show. So those are great ways to do it. Also, there's things like Backstage. Backstage is a really good website for the most part, to find different like model calls or casting calls in your area, not just Atlanta. In addition to that, I would follow local runway shows in your area. So some companies that you may want to follow if you're in the Atlanta area are Atlanta International Fashion Week, that's a big one. Atlanta Fashion Designers, that's a bigger one as well. And Walk Fashion, they're big as well, and they're also across the nation. So you can be a part of the show in Atlanta, and then they'll go and have a show in New York for New York Fashion Week, and they'll go to Detroit, I believe, but they like hop around and do a lot of stuff. And if you want to be a part of those experiences, then as a model you have the option to let them know and be a part. So it's a great opportunity, especially if you want to travel, have the time to do it, have the money to do it. It's great. So follow these different brands: Walk Fashion, Atlanta International Fashion Week, Atlanta Fashion Designers, Donna Dysonia, brands like this, and keep up with them. Keep up with when they're having model calls, where they're having model calls at. It's a really great, social media is great for finding opportunities. You just have to make sure that you're, you know, opening yourself to the other options of what social media can be, and not just staying in like, let me post my selfie, let me look at my friend's selfies. Like, business, sis, there's business out there. Next, once you're in these shows, this is your opportunity to network. So you go to the model call, you get in the show. This is your opportunity to network. Once you get in the show, you have to show the utmost best possible qualities of yourself. And that is not necessarily saying you need to be on your P's and Q's perfection-wise, like physically, which, I mean, you do want to be put together, groomed nicely, all that other good stuff. But even more so within, have good customer service skills, have respect for brands, be a flexible model. Don't be a seriously, like, don't be. Nobody wants to work with someone who thinks they're Naomi Campbell and isn't. That's no shade, that's no tea, but you have to check your attitude at the door. And I feel like my background in customer service has been really beneficial for me in this industry, just because sometimes if you have an idea of what something's going to be, you may overlook certain things that still matter. I don't know if this is making sense, but I started working in customer service. I started working in fields where I needed to serve customers and be able to get along with people and de-escalate situations and be, you know, flexible to the needs of others. These types of qualities translate. So your customer service job that you're working, whether it be at a phone, what is it called? A phone customer service desk, a grocery store, like anywhere. It could be anywhere. All of these skills that you're learning translate into other worlds. Nobody wants to work with someone who is not flexible. You need to ensure that you are in the headspace and that you have the ability to respect these other people that you're around and the brand that they're building for themselves. Typically, when you go to a fashion show and you're in a fashion show, these brands pay to be a part of the fashion show if they are not the only sponsor of the show. If it's not only one brand, and even if it is only one brand, these brands put in a lot of money to provide this show to the public and to have you here. So even if you're not getting paid, which that's a whole nother subject line. Even if you're not getting paid, you need to act as if you're an employee. You're an employee. This is where you show your best attributes so that these people will want to call you back, work with you more, and have you be a part of their brands. It's simple, sis. Like, I don't know if y'all watch America's Next Top Model or what. My mom used to model, so I feel like I learned this before I watched it on America's Next Top Model. But never tell a designer what you're not going to wear. Now, it's one thing if it is risque or it makes you feel uncomfortable or It involves nudity. Of course, in those aspects, you need to speak about when you're comfortable and when you're uncomfortable, because you need to be comfortable, you need to be confident, and you need to make sure that you are still falling in line with your moral values and what you believe. But when it comes to the hoodie dresses, nobody cares if you don't like it. Nobody cares if you don't like that dress. You need to put that dress on and act like it's the cutest thing that you done seen in the past 50 minutes, however long it takes for you to get down that runway back and get to see your next outfit. Like, nobody cares if you don't like it. As a model, you're a vessel. Like, as a model, if you wanna design your own clothes, if you wanna only pick your own clothes, then that means that you need to make a clothing line. But as a model, you are showing something for somebody else. This isn't for you. This isn't for you. And when I say this isn't for you, I mean like what you're doing, you walking down the runway, like yes, it's for you, but what you're wearing is for someone else. They need you to sell something. So you need to put clothes on and be like, this needs to be what you think about the outfit, and if you don't like it, it needs to go. And then you need to be like, what would Tracy Ellis Ross do? What would, like, think about other people who wear things that push bounds. You have to get out of your element. You have to get out your head. You have to get out your way. You have to get out your box. You have to be open-minded, because high fashion and fashion, not everybody likes the same thing. Not everybody likes the same thing. But as a model, you're here for one job and one job only. So like I said, unless it involves compromising your morals, nudity, or something like that, then you gotta get out your way, sis. You gotta get out your way, because no one wants to hear,
I don't wanna wear that, that's not cute. You wanna wear this?
Now, I will say I've had designers ask me if I feel comfortable, like, well, what do you think about the outfit? And in those cases, of course, if you feel comfortable, if they're asking you, if they're prompting you like, well, do you want to wear something else? Then maybe you'd be like, yeah, I want to wear this. Can I wear this instead? But don't talk bad about clothes, and don't be drama if they're like, I need you in this. Don't be drama. Make the process smooth, okay? Make the process smooth. So this is also when you can meet photographers, you can meet designers, you can meet people who put on fashion shows, you can meet model coaches, you can meet other models, which that's another like great networking source. The modeling community in Atlanta, once you make some friends and make some connections, you'll be sent stuff. Like, they'll send you stuff, they'll tag you and stuff. It's a super supportive group of women, at least the group that I have immersed myself in and that I'm connected with, and it's really a beautiful thing. It's really a beautiful thing. Once I got into my first fashion show, honestly, I didn't build many connections from that show, but what I did do was I built a connection with that show. So I still have worked with that show, and I feel like I'd like to say I've grown with that show. You know, as they've gotten bigger, pay has gotten better. It's just, you know, really good to build connections. So they were the connection I built then. Every year since I've started working with them, I've had a for sure show to be in when it came to their brand, which is great, because then I built more connections. I built that connection with them, and then in my second show, I built a really good connection with one of the designers specifically, and working with her got me a photo shoot. When I met the photographer at that photo shoot, the photographer was like, girl, do you model full time? And I was like, well, I don't, but what's up? And she's like, I need your information, I want to shoot with you again. Praise God. Praise God, okay? So that's how I met up with this photographer and built a connection with the photographer outside of photographers that I already knew. It was great. It was great. And I've worked with that photographer a good like 4 or 5 times. I love working with her. Megan Monique, y'all see her work. I'm sure, you know, on my Instagram, whatever, you'll see her, because she's bomb. She's dope. And if you're looking for a photographer in the Atlanta area, you should hit her up. But from that photo shoot, like I said, I built the connection with the photographer, and from doing the photo shoot with that photographer, eventually you'll learn to post content. Like, I don't know how y'all feel about it, but for me personally, when I started posting modeling pictures on Instagram, I was like, I don't like the way this feels. I didn't like the way it felt. I definitely didn't like the way it felt. I didn't like I felt like it was kind of vulnerable to post it and let people in on what I was doing. Like, I thought he was gonna be like,
who told her this shit? She's trying to be a little bottle. Oh, she's trying to be a little bottle.
But I actually got a lot of support from it. So it was a great surprise, but I can't even front, like, your girl was shaking like a stripper. I was like, my social anxiety went through the roof. So you have to get over that. You have to be okay with shamelessly promoting yourself. Check out Shameless Maya on YouTube if you need work on that, but you need to shamelessly promote yourself. You need to post your content. You need to post about what you're doing. You need to do it without caring about what other people will think. And if you do it with caring about what other people think, it's fine, but you have to grow out of it. Like, you have to put your big girl panties on, or boxers on, big boy boxers on, and just be.
Also, as a side note, I would just like to say there is a quote that says, "You will become way less concerned with what other people think of you when you realize how seldom they do." This says it's by David Foster Wallace, but I'm not sure. Either way, people don't care what you got going on, but I digress. We'll continue.
That may be more of a me thing. I don't know if anybody can relate to that, but starting new ventures and letting people in on your ventures can be, a little nerve-wracking. So, yeah. Now, when posting content, in order to ensure that you keep these good connections with these great photographers and brands, something that you should always make sure you do is respect the work of the photographers and respect the work of the people who produce this photograph that you're using. Never edit a photographer's photo. So this is different if you get like the okay, or this is different if you're editing raw photos. When you get photos back from photographers, sometimes you'll have photographers that give you all edited photos, and sometimes you'll have photographers that gives you some edited photos, but then all of your raw photos. You can edit your raw photos. If you want to edit your raw photos, you can edit your raw photos. If you want to cook your raw photos, you could cook your raw photos. You could do whatever you want with your raw photos, but do not edit a photographer's already edited work, because it's rude. It's rude. It's just not the best etiquette. It's like cutting your steak with a butter knife. You don't do it, especially not when you eating with like Oprah. You eat right, you know what I'm saying? So it's just not the best etiquette in general. Like I said, unless you discuss it with the photographer, unless they know like, oh, she's about to edit this on, that's cool, whatever. Or if it's a raw photo, that's completely different. But if someone gives you something, especially if it has a watermark, and don't cut off watermarks. If they watermark their image and you want to use a watermarked image, you need to use the watermark. And I don't even know if it's necessarily a watermark, because watermarks go like, I think those go like across, like proofs. But if their logo is on the picture, don't cut off their logo. That's also rude. I'm just trying to tell y'all, okay? So that's really like the cycle of getting into modeling. There are some more things that we need to talk about, but I just want this process to be in your head. Like, go on model calls, go to fashion shows, walk in fashion shows, do photo shoots, post the content from the fashion shows. It's a cycle. It's an endless cycle of doing it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And you'll see yourself, you'll feel like, dang, I've been doing this for how many years, and I'm not getting much out of it. But you'll see yourself and the quality of your work and the quality of your business and the businesses that you're working with grow and grow and grow and grow and grow, to where you look back and you're like, dang, I've come so far. You need to keep going. Like, you just need to keep going. A lot of the times I feel like people can be hard on designers or models or photographers. And the thing is, when you're starting out, some of the best people to start working with are also people who are starting out. And the good thing about Atlanta is there's so many people who have desires and aspirations to do this type of stuff. You just need to link up with them. You need to link up with them and you need to practice with them, because practice makes perfect. And the same way that as a model, you may not necessarily want to work with the person who just started doing photography last week and might not know how to edit photos the best. Girl, you might not model the best. You better humble yourself. You better have some of this humble pie, because girl, you might not be all that you think you are. You have to be okay with growing with people, and those are some of the strongest and best connections that you will build. Growing with people in this industry is a great way to get practice in, get content, build a portfolio, because you can just try stuff. So like I said, sis, be humble. Don't act like Joe around the block don't know how to take photos when you might not know how to take photos either. I didn't always know how to take photos. I'm still learning how to take photos. But the thing is, I'm not gonna shade nobody else for not knowing how to do it once I do get a little bit more developed. That's not okay. Everybody's learning. And that same thing goes with designing. Like, you can't come at a designer in their first fashion show and be like, this is garbage. This is garbage. They want me to wear this. Look at how ugly this is. This might be their first fashion show. This might be their first line. The line might not be ready yet. I've worked for people whose lines aren't ready yet. I've worked for people who had just the base of the outfit ready. And there's nothing wrong with that, because those designers have grown and now they got some dope pieces. I'm like, I'm trying to get your dope pieces. You can't judge people from their starting place. And you really shouldn't judge people at all, but you can't judge people from their starting place. Once you build a little bit of rapport, then yeah, you can say like, no, I don't want to work with this brand, or I don't want to work with that brand. Like I said, never compromise your morals. But make sure that you are being respectful, and make sure that, especially when you're starting out, you remember that you're starting out too. And getting work shouldn't be that difficult, because there's a lot of people starting out, and there's a lot of people who want stuff, you know. So a lot of people want content for content, or what is it, bartering? I don't know. You take my photos, I get some pictures, and you get some pictures, you get some work, I get some work. That's a lot of people work like that. Not a lot of people want to pay, which brings me into another point. You need to do it for free.
For fun.
Like, you'll meet people who have done 1 or 2 fashion shows and they're like, oh no, my rate is $300 a show now. And that's not how you do it. Especially if you're just getting into it. You need to be able to do something that you love for free. And I mean, you don't have to. This is all just advice. But anything, this is outside of modeling. If you love it, do it for free. When you keep doing it, eventually it'll pay off. You cannot be a first-time fashion show walker unless you are really just like, an overnight star. Unless you're that, when you're working your way up, starting from the bottom, now we're here, that means that you need to be able to be flexible. You won't be paid for every show. A lot of the times you'll be hustling. A lot of the times that's like practice. That's like practice. You're practicing so you could put me in the game, coach. Put me in the game, coach. I'm trying to get in the game. But you have to start somewhere, and that's not always going to be paid. I modeled for years before I was consistently talking to people about money. And even now I don't get much off of modeling. I also don't pay much for modeling. Like I've never paid for a photo shoot. That's tea. That's tea. I've never paid for a photo shoot. And I have some bomb photos, and I have good quality stuff on my hands. So all I'm saying is, if you really love it, do it for free. And eventually it will pay you. You will get into the right places, and you'll meet the right people. The last tip that I want to give you for this video is to start today. Start now. Whether that be research, whether that be practicing your walk, whether that be looking up models that you love, that you can like model yourself after. Start today, because every single day you can be closer to getting what you want, achieving what you want, and every day you spend thinking about it is one day lost. So start today. You can do it. I did it. You do not have to be perfect. I'm not perfect. You probably tell from this video I'm not perfect. I got my flaws, and I've done well. So I believe in you. Just make sure that you believe in you. And if you're not the most confident right now, then fake it till you make it, because eventually you gonna fake it, and then you gonna be like, oh, I can wear this confidence like it's real. And you be like, oh snap, but it is real because I'm confident, and I deserve to be, and I need to love myself enough to be confident enough to go after my dreams. To go after my dreams, do what I want, and it's all gonna work out, sis. It's all gonna work out. That's tea. That's the real tea. It's all gonna work out as long as you want it to work out, and as long as you put forth the effort, as long as you know, stand for what you believe in and believe in what you stand for, like, you're gonna be good. I hope this video helped you. I hope it gave you something. I hope that it gave you a starting point, some advice, some key things to try and do, and to just really start your journey into modeling, whether that be in Atlanta or any other city. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that there is something that you were able to take from it, and something that you can apply today to your modeling journey, especially if it's something you're thinking about doing. You should do it. You can do it. Who gonna stop you but you? That's on period. That's all I wanna know. Who's gonna stop you but you? Like this video, comment, subscribe, and if you have any questions, ask me down below. I'd be happy to answer. I'm responding, so ask me whatever. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.